Over the years, Aumua Amata has continued to break down barriers and open new paths to leadership for Samoans, whether it was becoming the first Samoan to win the Senior Citizens Guardian Award and the International Leadership Foundation Visionary Award in 2008, becoming the first Pacific Islander named Woman of the Year by the National Association of Professional Asian Women in 2003, being the only Pacific Islander to serve on the President's Advisory Council on Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders from 2001 to 2004, or serving as an officer at the 2000 Republican National Convention, where there were two well-known Samoans at the podium.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the people's superstar of the World Wrestling Federation, The Rock.
If you smell what The Rock is cooking. The Rock says, The Rock says. Thank you on behalf of all our fans across America, and thank you for recognizing the passion and the potential power of those fans.
And introduced by Congressional Leader J.C. Watts, another prominent Samoan.
And now to conduct this evening's roll call of the states, Assistant Secretary Amata Coleman Radawaga.
Secretary, we know that Wyoming is the smallest in population of all 50 states, but just as with American Samoa, no voter should be left behind.
In many ways, Amata has been preparing all her life for the moment she would proudly represent all Samoans as the first one ever named an officer of a Republican National Convention.
I remember growing up in American Samoa. I grew up on the island of Tautua, and in those days we did not have much in the way of the comforts of Western civilization. We had no paved roads. We had running water, and we were very happy. I remember that every Sunday, that was always a big deal because everybody would dress in white. Christianity is a very big part of our life. I went to sister school in Aua, the Lepua area, on the other side of the harbor, but we did not have any school buses. But we had a motorboat, a 50-footer. It was left over from World War II. So all the children on that side of the island would pile into this boat every morning, and then they would take us across the harbor. We lived all facets in our daily life of our very ancient culture, which is very much in place today, and it's precious to me. I was away at college. My auntie, High Chief Uifa Atalu, Mabel Reed, died, and that was quite a blow to me. I was very close to her, and she was a role model for me. She was a very big influence in my life. As a matter of fact, she was the first elected woman, Faipule, at the Fono, and I believe she was the only woman, Faipule, for a number of years.
And then another development in American Samoa changed the course of Amata's life.
Not too long after Auntie passed away, the Fono passed a law to create the Delegate at Large office in Washington. And that was also around the time I finished up college. And so I applied for the job, and they were looking for somebody who was totally bilingual. And so I got the job. I served as executive assistant to our first Delegate at Large, Paramount Chief Fuimaono, to whom I owe a great deal. My dad had experience in Washington, and he always told me that Washington experience is invaluable, particularly in the case of American Samoa, where we are so heavily dependent upon federal grants. A terrific job opportunity came along. at the Office of Economic Opportunity, OEO. So I jumped at that chance because I was able to learn all about the federal grants process, and grants are so important to American Samoa. After OEO, I went to HEW, which was the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare. And in those days, it was a very powerful department. It had the second largest budget, and I was able to learn a lot about how the Washington power game is played. At about the time I went to HEW, we started a family. We have 3 wonderful children, all of whom have spent a lot of time here at home in American Samoa. As a matter of fact, our oldest daughter, Erica Leata Valavala, is here right now. She's an archaeologist, and she is doing field work as part of her doctoral studies at the University of California. So here I am with 2 kids under the age of 4, and a law gets passed allowing us to elect our own governor. So I bundled up my 2 babies and caught the bus from Washington, D.C. out to California, hopped on a plane and to work my dad's campaign.
Amata was elected by the newly formed Republican Party of American Samoa to be a member of the Republican National Committee.
You know, I've got to say, one of your own is a part of my staff, Amata Ridewagon. She's here today, and she's the National Committee woman. So, but Amata's good to see you in a different setting this morning.
She continues to serve in that position today, and now is the 12th most senior member of the powerful committee.
Since 1977, I've worked in all of my dad's campaigns, and I'm really proud of my dad. He served 4 terms as governor of American Samoa, and I learned so much in all of those campaigns because my job was to work the grassroots. During all of my dad's campaigns, I really got to see the word Tautua in action. My dad always taught me that government is the servant and not the master. A lot of people don't realize that I'm home a lot because I don't have a big federal budget and I don't have a staff to put out press releases. I just quietly come down to my home, and I spend a lot of time talking to a lot of people at the grassroots. And when I go to Washington, I take the concerns of our people with me, the real concerns.
For Amata, 1992 was a year of adversity that took her to a new level of activism.
1992 was a pretty tough year. Dad lost his election, and to make matters worse, I found out that I had developed breast cancer. And they really had no way of dealing with the disease in American Samoa. Very few people knew or would even talk about it. But from that whole experience, I learned how to mobilize people. Our efforts were successful because they helped bring about the first mammogram machine to our islands. So here we are today. I've developed all these political contacts over the years. I'm a member of the Republican National Committee, and in fact, I'm one of the most senior members.
Talofa. I'm Jim Nicholson, Chairman of the Republican National Committee. I want to take a moment to thank your party leaders on the RNC, Tautua, Teo, and Amata.
I have been on the Executive Committee. I have been on the Arrangements Committee for the convention 3 times. And this year, I was honored to have been asked by Governor George W. Bush to be one of the 14 officers of the convention, a special recognition for the first time for someone from our islands. Well, as I look back at it, I have been really lucky. Over the past 30 years, I've been able to stay close to our folks here at home, develop the contacts necessary in Washington, and I am in a position now to move to a new level of service and to really bring Tautua home.
This is Aumua Amata, and I approve this message.